So, welcome again to New Mexico Restaurants Now, where we get you the inside scoop on the food scene across New Mexico. This episode is brought to you by NMRA's Chef Table sponsors. These businesses provide the most generous level of support to help our restaurants stay protected, informed, and successful. So, thank you to Benny Keith Foods, Food Industry Self-Insurance Fund, Heartland Payment Systems, Shamrock Foods, Cisco New Mexico, and U.S. Foods. We would not be here without you. I'm Carol White, CEO of the New Mexico Restaurant Association, and our guest today is Sam Gerberding. Sam is the general manager of the Inn of the Governors and Del Charro Saloon. Sam is also the current president of the New Mexico Restaurant Association. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you, Carol. It's good to be here.
It's wonderful to have you, Sam. Sam and I have known each other for quite a few years now, and I've always been a fan of the Inn of the Governors. I don't think I've ever told you this, Sam, but I think that was the first hotel I stayed at when I was going up to Santa Fe on a regular basis, and it was a regular hotel for me. And let's talk about it because it's got a charm all of its own. Santa Fe has charm, and then the Inn of the Governors has this just really wonderful charm as well. Tell me about the Inn of the Governors.
Certainly, Carol. Thank you. I'll start with our tagline or our motto, because I think everything very well spills out from there. Inn of the Governors, your home in the heart of Santa Fe. And so whenever we make a decision about a change we could make to the rooms or a property or a service element, it starts from would this make you feel like you are at home? And so from there, it extends to the way we've cultivated our staff culture to actually have the staff be very engaging in an authentic way. For example, if one staff member has a certain kind of humor, I want them to have that humor, and so forth and so on. So that feels like you're at, someone's house and you're getting the real deal in the interactions. We also, in terms of providing a complimentary breakfast, I know if I had you over to my house as a visit, I would wake up in the morning and make you a good breakfast. So the very intention of our breakfast is not just to give the added value I think people are looking for, but it's to make you feel extremely welcome and appreciated when you stay with us. Additionally, we have our tea and sherry social hour, which at the moment, for understandable reasons, isn't a social hour, but it's another thing where if I was hanging out with you in my own home or my backyard in the afternoon, I'd say, hey, can I make you a drink? And it's the same idea. So when we design the rooms, it's about, do they feel like they're from Santa Fe and New Mexico? Do they feel refined? But more importantly, do they add those together in a way that makes you feel homey and comfortable? There's certainly a place in Santa Fe for a high-end resort and atmosphere that people that have traveled around the world expect, say, for example, at Four Seasons or Rock Resorts, etc. But we feel our niche is to be that place where people get to come to Santa Fe and experience Santa Fe, but feel relaxed and comfortable and not feel like they can't laugh really loud in the lobby, or maybe their kid is a moment of being a kid, and we all know what that means. It comes without any sense that you are out of place. So to that end, I feel the average New Mexican who wants to have a staycation in Santa Fe can come up and feel welcome. And the person who's just come up off the heels of a trip to Europe with a elegant Four Seasons over there can still come and feel welcome. That is our intent.
There's a woman that greets cars outdoors, and she's been there for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. And she's just absolutely wonderful. And if you've been there a couple of times, she remembers you.
And
that is Charlene?
Absolutely. And it's been an interesting year because Charlene has had to move to our graveyard security position, both because of an unfortunate injury to the shoulder, in addition to, of course, doing my best to find steady hours for her through the pandemic. And it is amazing how many guests come in on a weekly basis and say, Charlene's still here. Please tell us Charlene is still here. And yes, good old Charlene. And she represents, and I appreciate you remembering her, Carol, specifically. Charlene is a New Mexican and Northern New Mexican, tried and true. You could not take that out of Charlene with all the science, hypnosis, and behavioral modification in the world. And what comes with that, though, she's not the person who would say, well, it's my pleasure to connect you, or, this is this and that. She is a first name basis person. She's a, hey, come over here and listen to me and let me put you back into the spot. And it translates to Charlene is authentic. She's real.
She is. She's not Ritz-Carlton, but she is definitely Northern New Mexico hospitality all the way.
Absolutely. And I had to trust my instincts about your home in the heart of Santa Fe in that decision-making process when we chose to move her to the parking attendant position over a decade ago, because she started initially in housekeeping. And just through her efforts and growing as a person and all that, we thought we'd give her a shot. And at first, I was a little concerned. But it was really validated my perspective that the right person who's real and authentic in a role greatly offsets potential polish and all the right phrases, if you will. So quickly, Charlene started to lead the pack on guest comments and people asking about her and caring about her. And it just really is because she is real.
Yes.
Utterly real. And guests sense that and they love that. They do not need the polish. They do not need that. For our particular niche, they want somebody who feels real and makes them welcome. And at times will boss them around on where the best place is to park your car.
Yeah, she definitely has her ideas about how you're going to park your car, yes, but she's very helpful, extremely helpful, and I just adore her. So that's a little bit about the hotel, and I have so many more things I want to say about it, but I do want to get into the restaurant because you all are very well known, not just with travelers, but really with locals. Del Charro Saloon is an actual saloon, and it is where people hang out, the locals hang out. So tell us a bit about Del Charro.
Certainly. Thank you for all those kind words, Carol. I appreciate it. I want to start by saying, speaking to the comment about locals hanging out, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge how essential and important the loyalty from the locals has been for this past year. When we had to move to just takeout, the response from our locals to support us was incredible. Even now, and then the minute we were able to open up outside in November, December, and January and create our weird little space that was meant to keep people warm enough, but also cold enough because of airflow issues, the locals came out for us. And they were understanding and patient as we, for the first while, adapted every single week to figure out what we could do. And it really, really matters. So I just want to make that clear. And as that, yes, I'm very proud of Del Charro. It is a back to your home in the heart of Santa Fe, whether I have a New Mexican coming up for a staycation or someone who's traveled from Ritz-Carlton, they all can go over to Del Charro and find something and enjoy themselves and feel a sense of just casual camaraderie. Of course, we back it up with, I think, very good food, great flavors, rich flavors. A lot of it's just Americana style saloon food, but with good portions and quality and a good range of choices. And I think that goes a long way to augment the experience of rubbing elbows with, again, authentic, real people all around you. And just between that and the tourists enjoying it, and then they suddenly are opening up in a way, and then the locals engaging with them or just being in the table next door, it has really created a special atmosphere of friendship and camaraderie and revelry. And more so these days than ever, because it's just been, our staff is grateful, the locals are grateful, people that come in are grateful. And so then you throw on a few great margaritas or a great local beer and, some Chipotle wings and a burger. Well, you just created a recipe for a really nice moment in your life.
I'm so ready to get back to those moments. I know you
Right.
are too. And so talk to me a bit about the atmosphere, because there's this gorgeous fireplace, right?
We have four
Right? Four
fireplaces.
fireplaces, and really, and they keep them going at least throughout the winter. I don't know about in the summer months, but it smells absolutely wonderful. It feels warm and inviting the minute you step in off the street. And I'm usually in Santa Fe during the legislative session, which runs for anywhere from January to March, and it's cold. So you step in and there's this warmth and there's this glow and somebody to greet you. And like you say, great margaritas. What's your favorite food in the restaurant?
I the two I like them too well. I am a big fan of our Chipotle wings. They are, we won an award for within all of New Mexico for them, and I'm really excited that I don't just say that as a fluffy marketing thing. It's like, no, we won it because we deserved it, and they're so good. And I love our New Mexico green chili cheeseburger. It has New Mexico cheese, it has, locally raised, regional at this point, but grass-fed New Mexico hamburger. The green chili, of course, is authentic New Mexican, and it's just really good. You can taste the difference in every bit of it. And I guess maybe being a simple Idaho boy when it comes down to it, just a good burger and some wings, and of course, a great beer is fabulous. I do love our margaritas. I think our house margarita is very elegant and simple, made with quality, silver tequila, silver coin tequila. So that's really good. But I also love our selection of the local beers, La Cumbra's elevated IPA and such. Just really, I think, augment all of it. And then past there, I could say there's a lot of other good stuff. I really can't look at anything on the menu and say, I don't think that's good. I wonder why we have that on the menu. No, I'm proud of all of it. A little something for everybody.
Absolutely. And my experience there has been that there really is something for everybody, and everybody goes. I mean, Del Charro is always packed. I don't think I've ever seen it when it hasn't been, just uh, butt to butt people. And of course, I haven't been there since COVID, but I expect that we're all going to get back here very soon. So I want to mention a couple of things, because you did mention the breakfast that comes with your overnight stay, and this isn't a continental breakfast. This isn't some croissants or something in a corner. This is a full-on breakfast, including, a wonderful what do I want to say, scrambled egg casserole type dish. At least when I was there, that they had that with the green chili and cheese, and it was just fabulous, right? And fabulous bacon, and I mean, it's a lot, and it comes with your overnight stay. So I can't say enough about it.
Thank you. I felt our breakfast is one of our crown jewels, and I think our reviews would speak to that. Um, the phrase I've used through the pandemic is we made a decision not to back away from the quality of the breakfast experience, but just to aim for shape. So it used to be a buffet, and for obvious reasons, it's not a buffet anymore. But we took many of the items that people love that we cycle through the buffet and turned them into signature dishes. Um, we have created some just great meals through that, and one of them we have our own spin on huevos rancheros, which we're finding people are very excited about. Of course, it's a filling meal. Occasionally, some people will say that's a little bit too much, but just again, back to your home, you're going to make sure people get a great breakfast before they start out the day. And we've done that. We've currently been having chilaquiles on the menu. And for those people that don't know what chilaquiles are, I strongly encourage them to go somewhere and experience them. It's a very traditional New Mexican and Mexican food dish that is filling, rich, flavorful. Not for the timid.
Not for the faint of tongue, right?
To the tongue, but they're really good. And so, we really tried hard to make it a rich experience. We've got some mellower meals for the person that's maybe from the Midwest who just doesn't quite want to have all the spicy food and such. But again, giving you an authentic taste of local cuisine when you get our breakfast. And I'm really glad you mentioned it because I'm proud of the fact it's an amazing value. I mean, quite the value to be able to get that quality breakfast.
Really amazing value. And the other thing is that I think is so unique to what you all do is your sherry tasting in the afternoon. I have tasted sherries before, but I got such a wonderful sample from your place. And I don't where does sherry come from? It's a Spanish, right?
You are correct. And I can quickly go into a spiel for you because for the 17 years, I've almost been here 17 years, that I have been hosting the Sherry Hour multiple days. Yes, I can go on for quite a little bit, but yes, sherry is a Spanish fortified wine. It is, I like to joke that it's kind of port's kissing cousin because it's made from the same grapes actually, in the appellation, the grapes for port are made from. One of the biggest differences is just the political border, and grapes could care less. In Spain, though, when they make the sherry, they make it where they fortify it at the end of the process, whereas with port, they fortify it at the beginning. And that does lead to significant change in the flavor profile. So the liqueurs and the fortification, the brandy that they use to make sherry is more prominent in the sherry flavoring, whereas the grape and sweetness is more prominent with port. But they both in the end have a similar result, which is a really rich, sweet drink, especially the cream sherry. Now, sherry, often everybody thinks of cream sherry as being what sherry is, but there's also a full range of other sherries that range from light and dry, like a Pinot Grigio, to one that's more middle of the road, and then there's one called Montevideo that's very earthy in its flavor. So what I like about sherries, there's a lot of great opportunities to experience them and play. And what I also enjoy about sherry, back to us being a value and just that concept rippling out for everything we do, you can buy a good bottle of sherry for $15. We all know that port can start at $15 and go up to hundreds of dollars. Now, that is not to discredit the beauty of those ports. I have them and I love them. But sherry, again, is very approachable and fun. And even if you end up not liking it, the risk financially to try it is easy. And of course, during the sherry hour, something we're missing right now is there's always a social hour for people from all over the hotel, who of course were from all over the world and the country. We kind of sit together and mingle in our living room style lobby and talk about their travels and talk about where they are in life and get to know each other. People have met and the sherry hour and then travel together the next year because they made such a great connection. And that's always been wonderful. And so right now, we don't have that. Social hour and social distancing, those two concepts are sort of exclusive of each other. I want to take a moment too, though, and talk about our signature sherry blend that we have. And we can't wait to start serving it to our guests, which again is a complimentary amenity. It's our Espiritu de la Hora. And it's where we've combined Santa Fe Spirits, locally made brandy with Spanish cream sherry. And that has turned into just a really rich, flavorful drink. It's got a little more oomph to it than cherry, but it's extremely smooth and well-rounded. And we made it for our 50th anniversary in 2015. And it was the point at the time called the Golden Spirit, because it was the 50th anniversary. Um, and it just, through a long story, ended up being changed to the Spirit of the Hour as the name. And it really, I think, because of how rich it is and how smooth it is, it kind of embodies what we're hoping to have in that social hour. So that is something I'm very proud of. And another crown jewel of guest experience is that moment of getting to taste these things. And sherry is so underappreciated in the US. So what I enjoy too is we're really providing somebody an opportunity to try something they never would have maybe thought of even trying, because it's so off the radar. And then they walk away going, oh, I didn't like that. Well, now they know. For the vast majority of people are pleasantly surprised and taken aback.
Nice.
From their experience. So.
Well, and I have to tell you, someday I will share with you my mushrooms a la creme. It's made with sherry, and it is just to die for. We got the recipe from a restaurant in Juarez, and just a fabulous restaurant. And I need to share that with you at some point, because it is really, really, really good. And you could sell it in your restaurant anyway, or put it on eggs.
That would be good.
Yeah.
One of the things I enjoy is people do what you just did. They will come to me and say, this is what I use sherry for. I use this sherry. What would this sherry be good for? And cream sherry, of course, is rich in a lot of great cream sauces, etc. Whereas the dry sherry is very light, and it works great in the lighter, more savory sauces you might use. And of course, the right sherry for yours. I don't know what sherry you use, but again, back to the wonderful variety of sherries that you can purchase. There's really a great, there's recipe for almost all of them. And what's also, again, is people think of sherry often as cooking sherry, which is just like a nastiest vinegar thing in the universe. I don't even know why they make it when sherry itself is so affordable. So why on earth wouldn't you just get a great bottle of sherry, drink it while you're making the food, use it in your food, and that. And I should do a plug for the Espíritu de la Hora. Its versatility in recipes has been amazing. And people buy the bottle, and I have them report back to me about what they've used it for. And it's good over a little bit of ice cream. It's good, really good to braise your pork in if you're cooking pork. So that's also a wonderful part of that experience, is people sitting in the living room, sharing the recipes and talking. And sherry does that.
Nice. And just to give people hope, because we just got a little bit of hope. Most of New Mexico is at least, restaurants are at 75% open. And it looks like in 8 weeks, we will be open fully in New Mexico if we're at 60% vaccinated, and we're almost there. So I can't imagine that we won't be. So I just want to give people that are thinking about traveling this summer a little bit of hope that we will be open, and we'll be here to share our homes with them at the Inn of the Governors. And the last thing I want to say about the Inn of the Governors and Del Charro is, as you're driving down the street, you look up and there's just this, it's almost European looking hotel with flowers hanging over the balusters. And it's absolutely picture perfect, and a wonderful place to stay, and a wonderful place to eat. So I just want to say that. Now, I do want to ask you, if people are traveling through town, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to make reservations with you, etc.?
Certainly, Carol. Can I just speak to the flowers very quickly?
Please, yeah.
Last year, as people may or may not know, was a very difficult year. And we had to make the very challenging decision to pull back from those flowers. Wonderful relationship with the landscaper. They were understanding, and they always did a good job. But you can imagine it is an investment. I had to make that decision in favor of keeping some staffing on. I want to give a shout out to a couple of our housekeepers that didn't have hours in housekeeping, that took it upon themselves to learn how to do some basic landscaping and work with us and find seeds and plant seeds and foster them. So for the lack of our regular flower boxes, I like to say that some of our employees bloomed instead. And what you said just validates the fact that as I was getting ready for this call, we finalized getting the flower boxes up and running again for this year officially with the owner's support. We finalized the contract for getting it going. So I'm very excited to say all the things you're speaking well of them, we are bringing back. So thank you.
Nice. I know it's been a hard year, and as my board president, Sam has been just the most supportive person. I can't imagine being on the phone with anybody as much as I've been on the phone with Sam this year. And we figured it out together. We're hopefully almost through, and this summer we'll be open and be able to forget about some of what went on this last year.
Absolutely. I agree. It's one of the few years where I've craved margaritas more than I ever have in my life. It's really bad when you have them so close to you. I behaved, but it was a decision. But thank you, Carol. I've enjoyed working with you as well. So to reach us, you can go to www.inofthegovernors.com. That's where you can learn all about us and see pictures of who we are and understand our story. You can book directly through us on the website. You can also call us on our 800 reservations line, which is listed on the website, and get personalized service. We have an in-house reservations team. Between the three people that are working right now, we have, my goodness, over 30 years of experience and dedication to the inn, and they know the place inside and out. So I would like to add that by using those two vehicles also gets you a $15 nightly credit in Del Charro for booking with us directly. And that's our way of putting our money where our gratitude is. It says, thank you for calling us and giving us a chance to serve you better. So that's the best way to book with us. And definitely try to do that, because of course, if you get $15 a day, well, that's one margarita for a person in your party and maybe some chips and salsa. So it's a great way to take the edge off of the travel and try Del Charro with nothing else.
Well, wonderful. I really appreciate it. I'm excited for people to try the Inn of the Governors. And I do want to say that the Inn of the Governors, it sits right in between the Capitol building in Santa Fe, which is called the Roundhouse because it's a round building, and the plaza. So 2 blocks away is the plaza, 2 blocks away is the Capitol building. So really wonderfully situated central place where you can get to everything by walking.
It's true. I wish I could say I had a hand in that part of it, but I didn't. But yes, the owner was brilliant in the location of the hotel. It allows us to serve the tourist body quite wonderfully, but also service the people coming into Santa Fe to do business and work with the government. So I'm very fortunate for that.
Yes.
And of course, we're surrounded by so many amazing restaurants. I really would be remiss not to speak to that. Within a stone's throw in every single direction, I can send our guests to just remarkable places to eat. And we love to share that with guests too. We're not greedy. We don't want them all in Del Charro. We want them to go out and experience the culinary majesty that is Santa Fe.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, that area is just, like you say, just about every corner right around you has some fabulous restaurant. And so I encourage people to come stay at the Inn of the Governors, eat at Del Charro at least once, and experience Santa Fe.
Agreed.
Thank you so much, Sam.
You're welcome, Carol, and thank you.
Really fun to talk to you. I want to thank our generous sponsors, U.S. Foods, Cisco, New Mexico, Shamrock Foods, Heartland Payment Systems, the Food Industry Self-Insurance Fund, and Benny Keith Foods for their annual sponsorship of NMRA and its programs. Visit nmrestaurants.org to learn more about our chef table sponsors. And thanks for tuning in to New Mexico Restaurants Now. You can watch this and other episodes on the New Mexico Restaurants Now YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to the audio podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Thanks so much, Sam. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Carol.